What's going on, my Jets family? So Connor Hughes announced earlier, a little while ago, earlier today, that the Jets will not be playing their starters in tonight's game. So the majority of the Jets starters will not be playing. Now, if you guys missed it, I was on the Jet Lounge just last night, had a great time with them, and we talked about that. That was actually one of the topics that came up. And it was interesting because a lot of us, we talked about it, and it really kind of is a double edged sword, right? On one hand, game reps are very valuable, right? Practice is not the same as game reps. Getting reps in an actual game is very, very valuable, and you can't simulate that with practice. So preseason is very important, right? To try different things to see what works. But at the same time, after what happened with Zach Wilson, this makes a lot of sense. So Robert Saleh talked about how he was conflicted with this, right? He was conflicted with, well, should I start the starters? Should I not start the starters? It was kind of funny. He was kind of talking about how, he wakes up one day and he's like, I should, then wakes up the next day and says, I shouldn't. It's that exact logic, right? On one side, you understand the valuableness of it, the valuableness of getting reps against other guys, trying other things. But again, at the same time, we saw what happened with Zach Wilson. Zach, thankfully, the best case scenario, but he did get knocked up. Why risk that, right? Why risk other starters potentially getting hurt, especially when, again, just the double edged sword? One of the most important things about preseason is seeing these other guys, right? We know who our starters are. Every team kind of knows who their, 20 something, 30 something guys are on the roster. But what about those other 20 guys? Those guys that are trying to make the roster, right? We see guys in the preseason break out or have a huge game or do something that the coaches see that make them want to give them a chance. So again, it's an interesting conversation. It goes back and forth. I bet a lot of you guys, some of you probably feel, well, it's very important to play in the preseason. And then some of you feel, well, this is a great decision and they shouldn't play. I feel like, again, Zach getting hurt is a major factor in this. The fact that Zach got hurt, it makes sense to not play a lot of the starters. Now, Joe Flacco shouldn't play regardless. Like, obviously, Joe Flacco is a seasoned veteran. He's been to multiple playoffs. He's won a Super Bowl. It's kind of like with Tom Brady playing in the preseason. There's nothing to gain there. Same thing with guys like Carl Lawson, right? Coming back from a major injury. Makes sense that he doesn't play, that Flacco doesn't play. The other guys, again, that's where the argument comes in. So again, game reps are valuable. It is definitely valuable, but we saw it in the first game. The starters do, excuse me, they didn't play that much, unfortunately, as we know what happened with Zach. But the starters do look good. We see them in practice. Again, not the same as game reps, but this is the decision that's been made. The decision's been made that the majority of starters will not play. And again, based on the situation, it makes sense, right? After what happened, we saw with Zach, if anybody got hurt, like God forbid, if one of our really important starters, I don't even want to say a name because I don't even want to jinx it, but if God forbid one of our important starters got hurt, it would be devastating, especially because the game doesn't count. It's preseason. So starters won't be playing tonight. I think they said some will, but the majority of starters will not be playing. Excuse me. And again, it's important to see these other guys. And now we're just going to get more time to see the other guys, to see guys like Streveler, right? To see Mike White play, to see, a lot of the backups, the wide receivers like Irvin Charles, right? Calvin Jackson, to see these guys that are trying to make the team. So that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch. So I wanted to update you guys and let you know that the majority of starters will not be playing tonight. Again, it's an interesting conversation. I feel it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, as you see, you have legitimacy on both ends. It kind of really is a double-edged sword. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening. If you could subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'll be tweeting out during the game, so check that out. Also, check out my live show later before the game. See you guys later, and let's go Jets. Let's get a win, baby.